In this video, we are tracking a powerful storm region by region as all weather hazards are possible across a huge chunk of the US. Severe weather and tornadoes, heavy snow, ice accumulation, and tropical storm to hurricane force wind gusts can be expected. What can you expect? Well, that's what we're going to dive into right now. Welcome back, y'all. Ryan Hall here with the weather forecast. We're going to use this whole video to talk about our massive and powerful storm that's working through the US over the next couple of days. And because it's so massive, I am going to do that thing again where I split everything up into regions. Let me show you where those regions are. So we're going to start off in the south central US here, and then immediately after that we're going to start talking about the southeast, and then we will do the Great Lakes and Ohio Valley region, and then of course we will end by talking about the northeast, and that should cover everybody. Okay, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's get going, starting with zone 1. All right, let's get started down here with the HRRR model. This is the high resolution rapid refresh, and this is just another tool we use to kind of see what the radar could look like as we go into the future. If you want to keep up with the date and time, it's always above my head in Eastern time. So let's rock this bad boy forward. For the most part, everybody is just kind of warming up, okay? A lot of warm air is moving into Texas and Oklahoma here. We're gonna have some gusty winds, and things are just coming together as this low pressure system really starts to get its act together tonight around midnight, okay? So we are going to see some storms pop up here in Texas, and some of the information does suggest that we might see supercells here, but more than likely, because this is happening at midnight, because there's not a lot of convective energy associated with this, we're going to see a big multi-cluster mess of storms form here, and then move to the northeast towards Altus, Wichita Falls, and then of course Oklahoma City and Tulsa as we get into the extreme early morning hours tomorrow. The storm has shifted southeast a little bit, and also it's slower. We still have our strongest storms down here, and I do expect there will be some tornadoes, possibly a bunch of tornado warnings, maybe even an actual tornado or two. So if you live in this area, be ready, because these are going to be naders in the dark. We don't like naders in the dark, okay? You can't see them coming, and a lot of you are going to be asleep, okay? So make sure you have some way of getting warnings, and make sure that warning's going to wake you up, okay? And then north of the tornado action, we've got snow forming back here in Colorado, Kansas, New Mexico, and in the western portion of Oklahoma. We've got moderate to heavy snow breaking out. This is going to accumulate, but lightly, okay? The heaviest snow is going to happen once this storm starts to eject off to the north and east. It's going to be reserved for Kansas and Missouri. Now remember, everyone down in through here needs to be on high alert for severe weather during the overnight hours. That includes hail, damaging winds, and then of course isolated tornadoes. But that does not end as this moves off to the north and east. Even southeastern Oklahoma and Arkansas needs to be ready for the potential for some severe weather during the early morning hours tomorrow. Heavy rain, cloud to ground lightning, gusty winds, all that's going to be possible, but the tornado threat will be a little bit diminished during this time for Arkansas, okay? It's still there, but less. This is when the heaviest snow will be working through the Wichita to Kansas City corridor, and then everybody in the pink in the middle is experiencing some sleet, okay? So we're not seeing a lot of purple, so that's good. The opportunity for freezing rain is still there. I still think that you guys got to watch out for ice accumulation, but we are team sleet, and we hope that the HRRR is right in assuming that all of this will be sleet rather than freezing rain. The freezing rain and sleet situation is going to be pretty messy down here in St. Louis around 2 p.m. on Thursday, and then really this thing skedaddles and it gets out of our hair by 7 p.m. tomorrow. Everybody's just going to be cold and done with this storm in the south central U.S. Here's the latest snow accumulation map from the NAM 3 kilometer. And one thing to note about this is that some of the really high totals in the middle here, like this is showing over a foot of snow for little places in Kansas and Missouri there. That's going to be on the very high end of what you can expect, okay? I don't think that we're actually going to see widespread 10, 11, 12 inches of snow in Kansas. And I also don't think we're going to see widespread 6 inches in Oklahoma. A more conservative and middle of the road forecast is going to be 2 to 4 inches for a lot of the western Oklahoma area, 2 to 4 inches through a lot of central and eastern Kansas, with a little area above 6 inches possible right around the Kansas City metro and north of Wichita. And then of course there's a streak of 6 inches or more that goes all the way through northern Missouri as well into Illinois. So this is kind of like the middle of the road, and then what I showed you earlier is the top of the line. And here's that ice forecast. I think this is a little bit underdone, okay? I think some people, especially on the southern side of this pink zone, are going to get possibly more than a glaze of ice. We're talking about 1/10 of an inch all the way up to 1/4 of an inch of of ice, I would be prepared for intermittent power outages down here because also the winds are going to be gusting, which could bring down trees and power lines and all that good stuff. As always, no hype here. I'm just sharing with you all of the possibilities. My motto is just be cool, okay? It's going to be okay. Don't fret, just be really cool. And speaking of things that are really cool, I've got to talk about today's sponsor, Bespoke Post, themed boxes tailored for you. This is an awesome monthly membership club that delivers boxes of top shelf goods from under the radar brands. Each box is worth like $70, but you only pay a fraction of that price. Now, 90% of the stuff that comes in these boxes comes from small companies, and the vast majority of those are based here in the United States. And look at that, son. And another cool thing is you only pay for what you want. So they're gonna send you a preview of everything that's gonna come in your box, so you can keep it, you can swap it, or they let you skip the entire month entirely for absolutely no charge. And then I already opened the box that they sent me first because I was so curious, but there's a bunch of cool mixers in here. Look at this grapefruit jalapeno soda. This is all actually really cool and useful stuff, and I think that storm chasers would actually be interested in this. Once again, while signing up, they're gonna ask you a bunch of questions to make sure that you get exactly what you want. Hey, this is one of them things where you didn't know that you wanted it, but now you really want it, okay? So go down there to the link in the description and use code RyanHall20 to get 20% off your first box. Once again, that's RyanHall20 when you go check out using the link in the description, okay? All right, let's get back into the video. All right, switching our view down here to the southeastern US, and buddy, we are going to be getting a good taste of spring today for a lot of us as that ridge is building up out ahead of our trough. Mid 70s to upper 70s down here in the deep south. We're in the 80s in Florida. We're all the way up into the 60s in West Virginia and Ohio. And that warm air is going to condense and become even more intense tomorrow ahead of our big cold front. And once again, this is what is fueling our storms. As we get into Thursday, we're going to see a lot of rain over here in western Kentucky and western Tennessee and northern portions of Arkansas. And this is associated with all of the moisture flying up into this storm system. I don't believe that this will be severe, okay? We're going to see some claps of thunder in western Kentucky, southern Illinois, southeastern Missouri. We're going to see some wind gusts. We're going to see all of that, but I don't think that these will be severe thunderstorms, and I certainly don't think that there's going to be a tornado threat there at this time. We have to push this forward a little bit to really start to see when that tornado threat's going to kick off. And right around the 2 p.m. time frame, when this cold front is getting closer, we're going to see some prefrontal storms pop up out here, and this is where we start to be concerned about the potential for rotating storms and tornadoes. Because look at this, guys. The tornado juice, the nadir juice, the lower level jet stream is absolutely kicking up, okay? It's been a long time, actually, since I've seen something this broad, this widespread. This atmosphere is ripe for tornadoes, and tornadoes are almost certain if the convection is not all messed up, if it's not crapvection. Remember, what we need are individual supercells that are kind of all by themselves, and it does look to me like there's going to be a lot of, mess out there. There's going to be a lot of cloud cover, there's going to be a lot of rain showers, and that's going to steal a lot of the energy away from what could have potentially been a big supercell outbreak. However, the threat is still absolutely there for tornadoes, and that exists from western Kentucky all the way down into Mississippi and Alabama. This is going to be kind of like the prime time for tornadoes. 3 to 4 p.m. all the way through 9 to 10 p.m. Any storm here could root up and start rotating, all right? It doesn't matter if it's a supercell all by itself or not. We still have the isolated tornado threat, and I want you guys to know that because I never want to downplay anything. Once again, I don't think that this is going to be a huge outbreak. I don't think anybody has a ton of things to worry about with this storm, but I also want you to know that if that tornado warning is issued tomorrow, you need to take it seriously because the upper air dynamics are off the charts. The ceiling for whatever kind of tornadoes do happen is really high. And I'm just hoping for the best here and thinking our saving grace is going to be our crapvection. And then as I push this forward, once again, you can kind of see the bean shape to some of these storms as we go forward. And that represents the curvature of wind direction with height, which is another thing that points us in the direction of thinking that there could be tornadoes. And if this is what the radar actually looks like, I'll be live relaying those warnings for you. So make sure you're weather aware, especially the further south we go, because that's where the most energy is. I still think the prime location for tornadoes is going to be somewhere here in Mississippi or Alabama, and maybe in southern West Tennessee. Even outside of thunderstorms, guys, look at this. The oranges and the reds there, that's 40 to 50 to even 60 mile an hour wind gusts just outside of thunderstorms. It doesn't matter if there's a thunderstorm or not. Add a thunderstorm on top of that accesses those 850 millibar winds. We're going to see straight line damaging wind problems widespread through the northern part of this convective line, I believe. And then as we push this forward, we've got a big squall line of storms all the way down into Louisiana at 7 p.m. We still have that opportunity for tornadoes here, but remember, the number one way we're going to get tornadoes is if storms pop up out ahead of the line, and it looks like everything's going to be pretty organized here. So tornado threat still exists, but the damaging wind threat goes up and becomes the star of the show around 7 p.m. And then things are really going to weaken out and become not much of a problem by 10 p.m. And especially midnight. Okay, we're still going to see some gusty winds, some possibly some damaging winds associated with these storms as they go through Georgia, East Tennessee, East Kentucky, possibly even into extreme western North Carolina. But I think for the most part, you guys are okay. This is just going to be a little rainstorm with a couple claps of thunder, and that's going to continue all the way off the coast. So I don't think there's really anything else to worry about down here after these storms get past Alabama and Middle Tennessee. So here's the latest from the Storm Prediction Center. There's still no enhanced risk, which that can still change. I think there's still a possibility that they're going to add that in Mississippi and Tennessee. However, even if they don't, everybody in the yellow here needs to be weather aware tonight into tomorrow. And look how they've added the northern section there. This is new. This is because the latest data is showing some of those insane 850 millibar rates way up there into Kentucky and southern portions of Indiana. All right, coming up here to the Great Lakes region, let's track this thing through here. It starts off as rain, okay? A couple moderate to heavy rain showers are going to be moving through Illinois all the way into Canada around 9 p.m. tonight, and then we're slowly going to see snow and ice try to take over from the north side. This is where nowcasting comes in. I think that the HRRR is a little warm here, and there's going to be a little bit more snow associated with this near Bay City, for example. We'll have to see. We'll have to watch it as the radar rolls in. But that cold air is going to chase the convection off to the south and east. And at this time, also, there's going to be some very strong winds everywhere south of the snow. So if you're in Indiana and Ohio, northern Kentucky into West Virginia, guys, you get ready, okay? Because those winds that I was talking about are going to be coming through here. They're going to be packing a punch tomorrow, all the way through the day tomorrow, really. And you could receive wind damage, okay, without even having a thunderstorm. But here comes the snow and the ice, and the heaviest portion of the precipitation is going to make it into Peoria around 11 a.m., and it's really going to ramp up around 1 p.m. And then in Chicago, things are really going to ramp up around 3 p.m. Detroit, you're looking at being all snow around 4 to 5 p.m., and it's going to be extremely heavy at times. One thing you guys are probably noticing is that the track is south and east from what we were looking at yesterday. I mentioned Bay City. You guys were a slam dunk for being all snow for the majority of this storm, and I still believe that. But just like I said yesterday, knowing exactly the amount of totals that you're going to get is tricky all the way up until the storm starts. Guys, I'm sorry. I'm not the one that makes the rules. We're doing our best here, okay? I do still believe you're going to be all snow for the majority of this event, but the heaviest axis of snow is likely going to be off to your south and east just a little bit. In Toronto, this southeast shift is good for you, okay? This is showing that you're going to switch over from rain to freezing rain, maybe around 5 or 6 p.m., and then you're all snow by 7, and it's going to be heavy, okay? So it's a good thing that that southeast shift happened because that's going to put you more in line to get more snow. You're still going to get rain, you're still going to get some ice, but you're going to get more snow, which we would rather see than just a full-on ice storm. Ottawa, you're still looking like all snow up here, and then of course that sleet and freezing rain line is going to ride the border of the lakes in Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New York as it heads off to the north and east. And I do believe that some of this backside snow is going to make it all the way down into Kentucky possibly late in the day on Thursday. So it's crazy that we could be talking about possible severe weather in portions of western Kentucky and maybe even portions of Illinois and Indiana, and then just a couple hours later you're going to get a shot of heavy snow or moderate snow right after that. So that would be interesting to see. NAM 3K snow map, how about it? This is the high end of what you can see. The heaviest axis of snow goes through central Illinois into northwestern Indiana into southeastern Michigan. Now this is the high end forecast. Don't pay too much attention to these numbers. It's definitely possible, but this is the upper echelon of what you could receive. So let's take a look at the National Weather Service's forecast, which is a good middle of the road conservative forecast. And I like this a lot. 4 to 6 inches through a lot of central Illinois, 3 or 4 inches in Chicago, 2 to 4 inches through a lot of southeastern Michigan, and a couple areas will exceed 5 or 6 inches down here. But once again, this is a conservative middle of the road forecast, but I like it. It's a safe bet. Same thing with that freezing rain forecast. This is showing a glaze of ice for a lot of people, but keep in mind, I do think especially down here, and possibly there's another little area that will be increased with the ice accumulation over here. I do believe it's possible that you get more than a glaze of ice, and you could see all the way up to 1/4 of an inch of ice or 1/10 of an inch of ice, somewhere in there. And even that little bit of ice can cause problems when you have big wind. And big wind you're going to have starting tomorrow evening, 50, 60 mile an hour wind gusts all across the Great Lakes region. And then even as that ice is accumulating, even as the snow is falling, even as the storm is at its apex, we're going to see 40 to 50 mile an hour wind gusts out here, which is going to cause blizzard conditions where it's snowing. And then if there's any ice accumulation, it is going to cause big time power outages, okay? Just ask our friends down there in Memphis. All right, last but not least, let's talk about the Northeast. And you guys are also going to get battered by wind, man. 40, 50, 60 mile an hour wind gusts for everybody from the mid-Atlantic all the way up into Maine and Canada. And then there's going to be a tiny little bit of a break before the real wind comes through. And this is where I'm actually kind of concerned about the wind over here in the Northeast. We're going to see a wall of wind and gusty showers coming through Pennsylvania, 50, 60 mile an hour wind gusts. And then at the same time, over the ocean out here, we're going to see some big winds start to build up and move inland just on the coast. Okay, so this isn't going to come like miles inland, but if you're right on the coast in New Jersey or Long Island or Rhode Island or Massachusetts, all the way up into New Hampshire and Maine, this is going to be a dangerous situation with winds ramping up well over hurricane force in some places. So at 2 a.m., we're seeing widespread 50, 60 mile an hour winds all the way through the northeastern areas into New England, also down here in the mid-Atlantic in Virginia. Like, this is a widespread wind event. But look, right on the edge of Long Island, 67, 72 out here on Cape Cod. And then that's not it. It continues to increase, okay? We've got a maximum wind gust of 92 miles an hour somewhere out here south and east of Maine during the early morning hours on Friday. So keep that in mind. Hurricane force wind gusts in Connecticut even around this time. This is going to be a very windy storm. Also, you're going to be having rain at the same time, so the soil is going to become loose. You got a lot of snow melt. That's going to bring down trees. Power outages are almost going to be guaranteed over here, so make sure you're prepared for that. You're not in for the big snow or the ice accumulations up here in the Northeast, or you're not even in for the severe weather and the tornadoes, but the wind and the rain alone are going to cause big problems up here, and I hope that you're paying attention. As far as the precipitation does go, it's going to start off as rain for everybody. There's going to be a little bit of ice and sleet down here in northwestern Pennsylvania into upstate New York, but the majority of that snow is going to ride the border there with the U.S. and Canada, and everybody else is just getting inundated with rain, intermittent rain showers, and heavy wind gusts in excess of tropical storm to hurricane force. So keep that in mind. There is going to be some backside snow that tries to sweep through western Pennsylvania, upstate New York, and Vermont, but for the most part, everybody is all rain over here. So keep that in mind, okay? This is just going to be a windy rain event for everybody on this side of the map. All right, huge shout out to our members over here, guys. I do plan on going live tomorrow to cover this storm. It'll probably be an all-day thing, and I am considering doing a short live stream tonight just to do a final update on all the model data before we get into storm tracking mode. But I don't know if I'm going to do it. Let me know down in the comments if you would like to see me do that. If there's enough interest in it, I will make sure I'm live tonight. Other than that, follow me on Twitter and Instagram and all that good stuff, because I'm posting constantly on there, okay? So I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.